So the Supreme Court is basically about to vote on voting rights, which could basically make like minority gerrymandering and shit like that legal. So let's get into this because how many of y'all heard about that? All right. All right, this is AP News. Supreme Court takes up Republican attack on Voting Rights Act in case over black representation. Okay, so a Republican attack on a core provision of the Voting Rights Act that's designed to protect racial minorities comes to the Supreme Court this week, more than a decade after the justices knocked out another pillar of the 60-year-old law. Lawyers for Louisiana and the Trump administration will try to persuade the justices to wipe away the state's second majority black congressional district and make it much harder to take account of race in redistricting. All right. Washington from the AP News. All right, so a Republican attack on a core provision. Oh shit, is that what I just read? All right. Race-based redistricting is fundamentally contrary to our Constitution, Louisiana Attorney General Elizabeth Murrow wrote in the state's Supreme Court filing. A mid-decade battle over congressional redistricting already is playing out across the nation after Trump began urging Texas and other Republican-controlled states to redraw their lines to make it easier for the GOP to hold its narrow majority in the House of Representatives. A ruling for Louisiana can intensify that effort and spill over to state legislative and local districts. The conservative-dominated court, which just 2 years ago ended affirmative action in college admissions, could be receptive. At the center of the legal fight is Chief Justice John Roberts, who has long had the landmark civil rights law in his sights, from his time as a young lawyer in the Reagan-era Justice Department to his current job now. It is a sordid business. This divvying is up by race. Roberts wrote in a dissenting opinion in 2006 in his first major voting rights case as Chief Justice. In 2013, Roberts wrote for the majority in gutting the landmark law's requirement that states and local governments with a history of discrimination, mostly in the South, get approval before making any election-related changes. Our country has changed, and while any racial discrimination in voting is too much, Congress must ensure that the legislation it passes to remedy that problem speaks to current conditions, Roberts wrote. A second round of arguments is rare at the Supreme Court in general. The call for new arguments sometimes presages a major change by the High Court. The Citizens United decision in 2010 that led to dramatic increase in independent spending in U.S. elections came after it was argued a second time. It does feel to me a little bit like Citizens United in that, if you recall the way Citizens United unfolded, it was initially a narrow First Amendment challenge, said Donald Verrilli, who served as the Obama administration's top Supreme Court lawyer and defended the voting rights law in the 2013 case. Among the possible outcomes in the Louisiana case, Verrilli said, is one in which a majority holds that the need for courts to step into redistricting cases absent intentional discrimination has essentially expired. Kavanaugh raised the issue briefly 2 years ago. The Supreme Court has separately washed its hands of partisan gerrymandering claims in a 2019 opinion that also was written by Roberts. Restricting or eliminating most claims of racial discrimination in federal courts would give state legislatures wide latitude to draw districts, subject only to state constitutional limits. A shift of just one vote from the Alabama case would flip the outcome. With the call for new arguments, Louisiana changed its position and is no longer defending its map. The Trump administration joined on Louisiana's side. The Justice Department had previously defended the voting rights law under administrations of both major political parties. Representative Cleo Fields has been here before. For 4 years in the 1990s, Louisiana had a second black majority district until courts struck it down because it relied too heavily on race. Fields, then a rising star in the state's Democratic politics, twice won election. He didn't run again when a new map was put in place and reverted to just one majority black district in the state. Fields is one of the two black Democrats who won election to Congress last year in newly drawn districts in Alabama and Louisiana. He again represents the challenge district described in March by Roberts as a snake that runs from one end of the state to the other, picking up black residents along the way. If that's so, civil rights lawyer Stuart Nafai told Roberts it's because of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and the persistent lack of economic opportunity for black Louisianans. Fields said the court's earlier ruling that eliminated federal review of potentially discriminatory voting laws has left few options to protect racial minorities, making the preservation of Section 2 all the more important. They would never win election to Congress, he said, but for the Voting Rights Act and but for creating majority minority districts. So just wanted to fill y'all in on that. It feels like every fucking day it's something else, but they're voting on this in like 2 days. So basically, if the vote goes in their favor, redistricting will happen to the point of it'll be a lot harder to win elections in a favor of like it being equal. Basically, it'll be like redistrict super white, super black, super Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's easier to figure out the seats at that point because they can sway whichever way they want to based on the climate of their demographic. But I am done here. We are at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't know if you're still around, but give me a like, a follow, share this with somebody that needs to know this, man. I mean, these are voting rights, okay, that are about to be swept away. But follow me on YouTube and Twitch. I'll be going live, Twitter and Threads, same name as here for the YouTube as well. And then I got my music name over here. Just take the one off my name on here and put it into any music platform, and you'll get some crazy fi to listen to all day. All right, guys, until next time, peace.